March Madness is getting a full dose of Hoosier hysteria. I'm Brad Brown at Lucas Oil Stadium with details on the NCAA's biggest event coming exclusively to Indiana.
More Hoosiers get the go-ahead to sign up for a coronavirus vaccine. Who is getting added to the list besides healthcare workers and residents of long-time care facilities?
To receive this good news, we talked about the last 3 nights we've slept the best than we've slept since the beginning of the pandemic.
And Indiana business gets good news in its efforts to stay open. How sports and pop culture are responsible for the much-needed cash.
From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 5. Streaming now.
The biggest event on the college sports calendar will be exclusively in Indiana this March. Thanks for joining us here at 5 o'clock. I'm Mark Mullins.
And I'm Amanda Starrentino. A historic announcement by the NCAA on Monday. The Hoosier State will host all of this year's March Madness. A huge win for Indianapolis to start 2021.
Exciting stuff. Brad Brown joining us live from Lucas Oil Stadium tonight with some of the details. Hey, Brad.
Hi, Mark and Amanda. It is indeed a big deal here in Indianapolis, but for the NCAA as well. Of course, remember back to March of 2020, the tournament never happened. The pandemic hit and sports essentially shut down all over the country right on the cusp of Selection Sunday. And so today, the announcement that in 2021, there will be one city that hosts all of the NCAA men's basketball tournament, and it will indeed be right here in Indianapolis. Let's start off by showing you the 6 venues that will be hosting here in Indy, and Lucas Oil Stadium, primary among them, had already been selected as the host of the Final Four. They'll have 2 courts set up inside here. Only one will be used at a time. Bankers Life Fieldhouse, Hinkle Fieldhouse, and the Coliseum at the State Fairgrounds will also be hosting games. IU and Purdue have been added to the plan as well. Bloomington, Simon Scott Assembly Hall, and West Lafayette, Mackey Arena will host games on the first weekend of the tourney. The Sweet 16 and the Elite 8 games will be played here in the city. The plan includes keeping all 67 teams housed in hotels linked to the convention center downtown. That facility will be used for multiple practice courts and meeting rooms. Each team will be given a separate floor among the many hotels. We're told around 2,500 rooms will be used for the month. It's not exactly a bubble setup like we saw in the NBA, more of a controlled environment. COVID-19 testing in partnership with Marion County health officials will be a large part of making this work. As for why Indianapolis, well, it's clear a 40-year benchmark of being a premier championship destination paid off in landing this unique opportunity.
We do have a lot of experience hosting major events, and we've also put a lot of work in hosting events during the pandemic. So, nothing quite to the scale as March Madness or the Final Four, but we intentionally engaged in that effort early in the fall, late summer, so that we could learn and take those learnings and apply them to an opportunity which we thought might pop up.
Given the incredible history that we have with the March Madness in Indianapolis, the relationships we have with the governor's office, with the mayor's office, with Indiana Sports Corporation, hotels and venues in the area, it seemed like a natural fit.
Now, the big question, of course, being fans. Will they be part of the mix when March gets here? The plan right now includes only immediate family members of players, coaches, staff, etc. Although a few weeks from now, the NCAA is going to reevaluate that, and there could eventually be fans in the stands for some of these games, perhaps here at the Final Four, the first weekend of April. Coming up tonight on the News at 6, Mayor Hogsett and Governor Holcomb chime in on the long-term effects of this and how this tournament coming to Indianapolis could be the sign that Indiana is ready to get back in business in 2021. We'll see you then. Live at Lucas Oil Stadium, working for you, Brad Brown, WRTV Sports.
Brad, this is great news for the first Monday of the new year. And now to your Storm Team 6 forecast. And when we're talking about March, we never know what kind of weather we'll have in Indiana. But if the games are played right now, Kevin, it wouldn't be too bad, huh?
And this is what it's all about. In Indiana, you get a winter day like this. This is how careers are built. You can bet there are kids out shooting on a day like this. Didn't have to shovel any snow, and we had sunshine. Well, as you look to the west, you can just see some mid and high level clouds. Those will continue to increase as the next weather system moves our way. That sunshine in 44 and relatively light winds felt great, didn't it? This happens to be the brightest day of the week. We'll battle cloud cover the rest of the week. Temperatures range from 30 in Gary to 48 in Evansville, Indy tucked in there at 42. If you look into eastern Iowa and Wisconsin, That's the area that's moving south and east. You can see it's a pencil-thin line, but that may bring a wintry mix after midnight and before your Tuesday morning commute. Temperatures will drop slowly here with the increasing clouds. We'll still be at 33 at 10 o'clock tonight.
Kevin, thank you. Now to the latest on the coronavirus in Indiana. We learned today first responders in Indiana can now receive the COVID-19 vaccine. That news came from the State Health Department and the Department of Homeland Security. Up to this point, only healthcare workers and residents of long-term care facilities have been eligible to receive the vaccine. But now, firefighters, law enforcement, emergency medical services, volunteers, and reserve officers can sign up to make an appointment to receive the vaccine. This includes anyone employed by a first responder agency in a public-facing position that requires in-person contact, which would increase their risk of getting COVID-19. Now let's get a check of the day's coronavirus numbers in Indiana. New cases and hospitalizations are up and deaths are down from Sunday's report. The State Health Department reports 3,630 new positive cases. They were reported between December 10th and yesterday. 39 more Hoosiers have died with COVID-19. Those deaths occurred between Friday and yesterday. The statewide total since the pandemic began in March now stands at 8,150. Hospitalizations are way up again. After dropping to 2,655 on New Year's Day, we've seen a daily increase. As of yesterday, the number of COVID and suspected COVID patients in Indiana's hospitals was 2,836.
Students in Marion County began returning to in-person learning today after a period of mandated virtual learning that began November 30th. According to the County Health Department, schools were allowed to resume in-person learning today. Most Marion County districts are teaching virtually, though, with plans to return to in-person later this month. Shannon Singerman's children have been e-learning this entire school year. They are Wayne Township students. Her son, Caden, has a rare lung disease and a type of brain tumor. Because of this, their doctor recommended that all of their children learn from home to minimize the risk of exposure from COVID-19. She's grateful e-learning has been an option for them and hopes it remains an option the rest of the year.
But I definitely feel like the option, definitely that at least needs to be there, if nothing else. I know, I mean, it's hard for me to say keep them all home because I'm not every other parent and I'm not every other student. But I mean, if it means safety for the students and for the teachers and stuff like that, then I think that's what's best. I know it's not ideal, but you know, nothing that we're dealing with right now is ideal.
Berry Township Schools was the only public district to resume in-person learning today for students K through 5, with the option for students to continue virtual while grades 6 through 12 are on a hybrid schedule. Wayne Township students can return to in-person learning on January 30th. To see a full list of how each January 20th. To see a full list of how each Marion County school will begin their spring semester, visit our website at WRTV.com.
A struggling business in Bartholomew County says for the first time during this pandemic, it has hope. The Rebound Indiana is our commitment to sharing ways businesses are working their way through this pandemic to stay open and keep people employed. WRTV's Nikki Dementri shares the story of how a nationally known social media company is helping one Bartholomew County restaurant keep its doors open.
If you ask Rachel Lapidus what the best thing on the menu at Special Dogs and More in Columbus is, she'll say just about everything.
Jalapeno cheese bites, jalapeno cheese bite, and the dogs, chili dog, burger, homemade burgers.
Owners Robin and Randy Lapidus grew the hot dog business out of love 3 years ago after their daughter Rachel developed complications after going into a coma from a heart attack.
Help people get disabilities, get jobs.
Its mission is simple: ensure neighbors with intellectual and mental disabilities can work and find a home with the Lapidus family.
Great food. You know, that's just the added bonus.
2020, owners Randy and Robin say, was their year. February and March were two of their strongest months since opening.
Even the first 2 weeks of March were really good. We were pacing above the year before. Think over there.
The Lapidus family had to do everything and anything to stay open. Fast forward to December, and a Facebook message from a friend suggested they apply for the Barstool Fund.
It's one of those things that you don't think you're going to be picked. I mean, they received thousands, maybe tens of thousands of applications.
They were in.
It's exciting.
How's it going? Oh my God.
The Barstool Fund is a foundation started last month to help small businesses across the country survive. Randy says getting the call from Barstool founder Dave Portnoy meant a future for his business.
For the first time since the pandemic has started, that light is no longer just a little pinhole. That light's now a lot bigger.
Portnoy donated $500,000 of his own money to kickstart it. But now it's Neighbors Helping Neighbors with nearly $17 million raised for 70-plus businesses. Randy and Robin say the money will help cover rent throughout the entirety of the pandemic.
To know that we're going to be here, to be able to give these young men and women these opportunities, it's the best feeling in the world.
In Columbus, Nikki Dementri, WRTV.
We did reach out to one other Central Indiana business that is also part of the Barstool Fund. Managers at Crabtree Concessions in Parker City declined an interview, but say that they're very blessed for the help during this difficult time. For more on how to donate or apply, check out this story on the WRTV app. The next piece of the Bottleworks district development in downtown opens to the public tomorrow. But today we got an early look at the Garage Food Hall. This is all part of the reimagining of a 1930s Coca-Cola bottling plant on the north end of Mass Ave. The Garage Food Hall is just steps away from the development's new Bottleworks Hotel that opened last month. The food hall is a community-focused marketplace that offers residents and travelers alike the opportunity to check out the food and wares from local chefs and artisans behind the garage's roll-up doors. Again, the food hall opens tomorrow at 906 Carrollton Avenue. What began as a trial run will be the new way of doing business to address COVID concerns in one workplace. We'll show you how a system that beeps will help keep people safe and healthy in the courtroom. Kevin?
Well, no big temperature swings one way or the other. No Arctic air to visit, at least this week. We're fairly quiet into the weekend. We'll talk about what changes are ahead, though, coming up.
Home Store. This is home.
If you have a loved one in a nursing home or an assisted living facility, make sure they get their stimulus check. The Federal Trade Commission issued a warning today that some nursing homes may try to take the stimulus payments, especially for residents who are on Medicaid. This happened with the first round of stimulus checks earlier this year. The Federal Trade Commission suggests talking to your loved one's nursing home and remind them that the resident should get the money. If you hear otherwise, report it to the Indiana Attorney General and the FTC at reportfraud.ftc.gov.
Kroger continues to have the We're Hiring sign out as we begin 2021. The grocer has hired nearly 13,000 people in 4 states since the pandemic began, and there are still more opportunities to land a job. A Kroger spokesperson told WRTV the pandemic produced astronomical growth in their e-commerce division, which is primarily Kroger Pickup. Jobs continue to be available in that area. The company also needs pharmacy technicians. They also have openings at the Kroger Dairy on Short Ridge Road. Those are just some of the options. To take a look at all of Kroger's open positions, go to jobs.kroger.com. Time now for your Storm Team forecast with Chief Meteorologist Kevin Gregory. And Kevin, as I was driving in, we passed the car wash here. That line went all the way out to the street with all that sunshine we're seeing.
You can bet. It does motivate you, doesn't it, to clean things up. We will have a little wintry mix in the morning, which could mess up the fresh wash, but go for it anyway. Well, early January, days like this are not that common, and so you take advantage of sunshine and temperatures in the 40s, and I'd say this is some quality time. Hop in the swing, just enjoy that, and we'll not see too much of a change in these temperatures over the next several days, although it will stay in the 30s instead of the 40s. Okay, looking to the west, nice little orange glow there, as you can see. Wanted to share this with you. I've always got time to show you a bald eagle during my evening forecast. Chevy Furland took this picture in Jamestown, kind of sits on the county line between Hendricks and Boone County. She didn't have to do anything incredible. She didn't have to climb a tree or anything to get this picture, but she had to work a little bit, and we thank her for sharing that. The bald eagle and sunshine on the same day. 40 degrees in Lafayette now. Let me mention this. If you happen to need to drive to central or northern Illinois tonight or during the morning hours tomorrow, be aware they have a dense fog advisory. They've been battling fog fog here for 24 hours, but visibilities may be a quarter of a mile or less once you cross into Illinois. The clouds will return for us. We'll see if some of that fog makes it into western Indiana. We'll see a little wintry mix overnight and through the morning hours. I'd say 1 a.m. to about 9 a.m. And you can see how thin that line is in eastern Iowa and Wisconsin as it drops to the south and east. We'll paint some of the colors of the wintry mix: rain, snow mix, maybe some very light freezing drizzle. There are no advisories. I don't think this will have a big impact, but with temperatures around the freezing mark, you always play it on the safe side. Could have some slick spots in the morning. Perhaps a little more of an impact in the eastern portion of the state. If you just follow I-65 Lafayette on down towards Seymour, east of that line may have a dusting of snow and a little more of a wintry mix through the mid-morning hours tomorrow. Remember, I said just around the freezing mark, 31 hanging in there through 9 a.m. Then temperature comes back to about 36 at noon. We never get too carried away. Most of this week, temperatures will be close to the average high of 36. I just want to show you, let's let this play out from tomorrow morning on through Thursday. You'll see a weather system develop out in the central U.S. It kind of curls its way, but it will stay to the south the way we see it right now, which means after tomorrow morning's precip, we've got a dry forecast. That wind tomorrow northwest, 10 to 15 miles per hour through the day, and that keeps our temperature in the 30s, as we mentioned. Just to play it safe, remember, there could be some slick spots in the morning tomorrow. Temperature hits the 30s for highs the next several days, closer to the 40-degree mark. We're back a little cooler as we get to Friday and Saturday. But if you're looking for a lot of sunshine like we had today, you'll need to be patient. Probably not until Friday and Saturday. We see more significant breaks in the cloud cover, but no major storms to worry about. Everyone can kind of relax.
Thank you, Kevin. And despite the calendar turning to 2021, face masks and social distancing are still required for most people to get their jobs done.
Every workplace has its own practices, and WRTV's Rafael Sanchez found one in Johnson County that's using a paging system to tackle COVID concerns.
The flashing circle of lights are part of the latest tool to keep people safe and healthy.
You're here for an initial hearing. New charges: operating while intoxicated is a misdemeanor.
Mark Lloyd is the city court judge in Franklin. Zoom meetings are commonplace. But the buzz outside his courtroom is the new paging system. Every lawyer and person with a court date gets a pager. It's similar to what people get while waiting for their table at their favorite place to eat.
We have an obligation not only to my staff and their safety, but also to the public safety. The courts throughout the state of Indiana have been struggling with that issue.
So once you've exited city court, of course, you have your pager. And much like in a restaurant, you have to wait till you're beeped. When you get the beeping sound like you're hearing right now, can you hear that? That means that the court is ready and your case is ready for you to come in. So people waiting in their vehicles then come in to challenge their case or pay their fee without fear of crowded hallways or a packed courtroom in this age that demands social distancing.
Anything that we can do to continue to move cases forward through the system, take care of justice, due process, and what we need to accomplish requires some creativity in this unique environment.
While those behind bars continue to zoom in.
Penalty for the A misdemeanor is up to a year in jail.
Others wait to be paged, letting the lights be their guide. Working for you, Rafael Sanchez, WRTV.
The paging system cost about $600. The judge expects to use it at least through the spring. Judge Lloyd believes Zoom hearings are here to stay.
Looking for a way to get out your frustrations? We have a lot of them these days. Still ahead, the new Indiana business where smashing things as therapy is the name of the game. Are you over all of the negativity of the past several months? Frustrated over staying home or cutting back on activities to stay healthy? Well, a new business in Indiana has just the thing to help you get out your frustrations. Ashley Finney and her family recently opened Rage Therapy in Warsaw. You can take out all your frustrations and pulverize your problems by smashing glass and other items in a rage room. Finney says it's a good way to let out and let loose physically and mentally. The plan was to open earlier this year, but then the pandemic hit. Now they're trying to break out as a small, brand new business.
It's been slow, but we're doing well with private parties. So lots of birthday parties for both kids and adults, and private sessions for foster kids. Businesses have contacted us to do their corporate team building parties.
It'll wear you out a lot faster than what you think. A lot faster than what you think. And you'll feel it the next morning. But it definitely helps take out whatever frustrations you might have.
Well, currently they are open Fridays and Saturdays for walk-ins plus private parties throughout the week. They're opening to expand hours once the business grows. Just smashing up everything.
I like the idea. Local hospitals are preparing for a surge in COVID-19 cases stemming from the holidays. What healthcare professionals expect, what they need you to know. That's tonight at 6. And it was a challenging year for IMPD with a homicide rate that set a new record. Next at 5:30, the plan at the State House that could change how the department is run.